Good day and welcome to the Time Preservation Society. I'm Lucky Day. Today we're reviewing the most famous studio workhorse microphone in the world, the Shure SM57 dynamic microphone. One of my subscribers here, Eric LaRose, gave me the great idea to review this mic. Thanks, Eric. As always, check your screen to find the real-time information on the equipment I'm using and when I'm using it. Full disclosure, I bought this microphone with my own money and I'm in no way affiliated with Shure. Still. I'm still not affiliated with them. What gives? These are my own opinions based solely on my own subjective experiences. I will be using a limiter for most of this video due to my terribly uneven throttle vibrations. I might have just made that word up. Throttle. 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 I like it. This is the second review of a Shure product that I've done, and so I'll refer you to my SM7B review right up here for the detailed company history. I'll also include a link to that review in the description below. As for the history of the SM57 in particular, here we go. The concept of the SM57 began way back in 1937 when Shure engineer Benjamin Bauer developed the very first single-element cardioid directional microphone, which he called the Unidyne. In 1959, another Shure engineer, Ernie Seeler, further expanded on that original design, and the result was the Unidyne 3, which Seeler rigorously tested and beat the snot out of for 3 years to arrive at what is now known as the SM57. The SM stands for Studio Microphone. Seeler designed it specifically for orchestral recording. He really hated rock music, so it's hilarious that the SM57 became the rock music favorite shortly thereafter, and forevermore. The SM57 has been and still is used on popular records all over the world. It can handle instruments with very high sound pressure levels, and so it's preferred on snares, toms, kicks, guitar amps, bass amps, and on and on and on. But it's not just used for loud instruments. It's also used on a plethora of other sound-generating things. For example, the SM57 has been used as the main vocal microphone for many, many world-famous recordings. Artists such as the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Madonna, David Bowie, John Lennon, Jack White, Peter Gabriel, Alice Cooper, and on and on and on. And it's still being used in the same way today by plenty of world-famous artists. Every president of the United States since Lyndon B. Johnson has used the SM57 to deliver all of their White House speeches. It's been an American presidential standard since 1965. You'll find the SM57 used on podcasts and other broadcasting applications too. And it's also a favorite high sound pressure level mic of motion picture sound recorders for sound design. This microphone is not going anywhere. And that's the history of the Shure SM57. And thus the reviews of this mic are a dime a dozen. YouTube is likely saturated with videos about this legendary mic. I've used a 57 in my own studio and at other major studios for more than 30 years. I am well acquainted with this little dude. Here are the specs. The Shure SM57 is a cardioid pattern dynamic microphone. It's got an impedance of 150 to 310 ohms, a frequency response of 40 Hz to 15 kHz, and a staggering ability to handle an insane decibel level. Allow me to explain. 140 decibels is a scientifically accepted limit for pain in the human eardrum. That's the limit. In tests, the SM57 begins to distort at 150 decibels, but only at 100 Hz. That's the loudness of a jet engine. Higher frequencies are accepted at louder decibels without distortion. At 160 decibels, the mic only begins to distort at 1000 Hz. That's as loud as a grenade exploding right beside your ear. At 10,000 Hz, the mic can theoretically handle 180 decibels. It can't be tested because scientists cannot recreate that sound close enough to the mic to test it. At 20 kilohertz, the mic can theoretically handle 180 decibels. That's the beginning of the speed of sound. For perspective, consider this. Sounds that are above 150 decibels can cause life-threatening problems. Sounds between 170 to 200 decibels are so intense that they can definitely cause lethal issues like pulmonary embolisms, pulmonary contusions, or even burst lungs. If you stood right beside a space shuttle launch and pointed this mic at the thrusters, it would still theoretically not distort. You would die immediately, of course, but the mic would probably be game for a vocal session or two after that. I jest. Or do I? So, there's literally nothing you can do that's too loud for the SM57 to record without distortion. That's insane. The mic weighs 384 grams. That's getting close to a pound. It's got a great weight. It has no other buttons, dials, or switches on it. It just does what it does. It's made of a dense metal except for around the grill. This is made of plastic. It requires an XLR cable and does not need phantom power. You may need a cloud lifter depending on which preamps you're using and how quiet your source is. I am not using a cloud lifter right now. I've got my Apollo Twin at around 75% and it's doing just fine. That's it. Just like the SM7B, this dynamic mic doesn't have any of its own noise issues, but it will exploit any noise inherent in your preamp if you have to crank it up for miking quiet sources. You can also use it as a hammer because it's virtually indestructible, but don't do that. The measurements are... Oh, hold on a second. Let me just get my trusty old measuring tape here. You know, this measuring tape was manufactured in 1985. I picked it up at a high school dance in 55. Anyway, let's do the measurements. We're almost 6.5 long by 1.25 inches in diameter. All right, let's just check out the off-axis rejection. So there's the front. Oh, there's the side. And there's the back. There's the side again, and back in the front. That was some good rejection. I really like that. You can pick up the Shure SM57 for only 129 Canadian dollars or 100 American dollars. Yes, you saw all those hockey logos right. It is that affordable, but it's anything but cheap. I love Shure. Did I mention that? I think I did. I've included an affiliate link in the description. With the profit money of your one purchase of a Shure SM57 using my link, I'll be able to buy the speed of sound. So, thanks for that. Oh, I always forget to say this every time, but please like and subscribe. It will really help me out. Cheers. So, by now, you've heard lots of me talking through it. How about some examinations? Since this is a dynamic mic, it would be ill-suited for booming, but let's try it anyway so you can see. Okay, so I'm booming it right now. So I'm about 1.5 feet away from me. Should I go higher? Okay, so I'm about 2 feet from my mouth. And as you can see, it's not great. It doesn't really hone in. It's a regular cardioid pattern, and it's a dynamic mic. It's meant for, as we said, really loud noises, loud sounds, and it doesn't really articulate all the little things. So I don't know if I boosted this. Let me try boosting it. So let's boost it by whatever I'm boosting it by, just so you can hear. Now we'll hear the noise of everything. It'll all get noisy, right? Just gets noisy. Because I'm cranking up a dynamic mic. It's not intended for this. But there you go. This is what it sounds like if you ever wanted to know. Here's a Shure SM57, boomed 2 feet, pointed at my mouth. And now for some music tests. One for each other and all for one. The three brave amigos are we. Brother to brother and everyone, our brave amigo. We are the three amigos. We are the three amigos. We are the three amigos. And forever amigos will be. And there you have it. Analysis. I love this mic on everything when recording music. Sure, it's a bit dark on acoustic guitar, and the same on any instrument that requires a high-end articulation. But it's completely usable for literally anything other than booming. It needs to be close to your source for optimum results. It takes EQ exceptionally well, so adding a high shelf can help achieve crisper highs. On a mic'd guitar cabinet, as far as I'm concerned, there's no better mic. None. There are many other brands that make fantastic mics for this, but in my opinion, the SM57 beats them all. For percussion and drums, the 57 shines just as bright, often a first choice for snare drums and toms. I also like it on vocals and as a broadcasting mic, but it is very sensitive to plosives. Plosives, see? Just breathing on it. So make sure you use a pop screen when using it for singing or voice work. Or you can do what I'm doing here and doing a 45-degree mic technique so my air is blowing across over here and not onto the mic right there. So that's a trick you can use if you don't have a pop screen, but you have to be real careful. Shure makes a couple of pop screens designed specifically for the 57. The A2WS, which is the big one, I think, and the A81WS, which is the smaller one. Also, if you're using it as a broadcasting mic, you might think about getting a shock mount for it, just in case. See what I'm saying? You can hear the desk. You probably hear a computer fan if you had that going. It'll kind of pick up the vibrations. So, I'm not using one right now, but it's recommended that you do. Shure makes one of those too. It's called the A55M. But any shock mount that'll fit a handheld like this will do. Do I recommend the Shure SM57? Wholeheartedly. No question about it. No one can go wrong owning a 57 no matter what. If you're just starting out with podcasting, music recording, or any type of recording or live performances, the 57 is an excellent buy. And it's excellent precisely because you'll still be using it even when you're a seasoned pro. You'll always have it and you'll always use it for a lot of stuff. It will likely outlast your own body. So you'll have it for life, and then when you die, you can leave it to your children as a gift to leave for their children for when their children die so that they can leave it to their kids. If you're a pro, then you'll probably already have more than one 57 kicking around. I just simply love this mic. I always have. Everybody loves this mic. You will find it in almost every studio in the entire world. So go ahead and pick one up. I'll leave some links in the description below, or check out my kit for more cool gear and ways to buy it all. And lastly, in a way, all of us has an El Guapo to face someday. For some, shyness might be their El Guapo. For others, a lack of education might be their El Guapo. For us, El Guapo is a big, dangerous guy who wants to kill us. But as sure as my name is Lucky Day, the people of Santa Poco can conquer their own personal El Guapo, who also happens to be the actual El Guapo. Bye now. End transmission. Okay, is that it? What are we calling it? Is that it? You got what you need?
Yeah, it's good.
Parfait. Bye now.